We'll get 2 or 3 questions in the next 10 minutes.
Awesome. We are recording.
All right. All right, Georgie.
Hello.
We are back for our third installment of a kind of a podcast, as we're calling it. I got questions, and I'm going to launch into it. So,
Okay. Hit me with your best.
always bring my best for you. I got an email from another gym owner that they send to their clients, and it was regarding sugar.
Okay.
And the nutshell summary is absolutely terrible sugar is for you, that consumption of sugar, any kind of sugar, including fruit, will kill you, prematurely kill you. So can you share from your point of view, maybe some counterpoints, or draw down the alarmist level of this message that you probably won't die from eating some sugar? And should it be everyone's goal to eliminate all sugar from their diet?
Totally. Yeah, there's a lot of questions in there, but I get the gist of it, which is like, do we really need to look at sugar like it's poison? Like, is giving my kids a cookie the same as like pouring them bleach to drink? Like, no, is the short answer. We are all going to die, not because we ate sugar. There certainly is some merit. I personally try to watch the amount of sugar that I eat and reduce and minimize it. But there's such an important contrast between minimizing and reducing sugar and swearing it off in a sort of like alarm-based zero tolerance sort of thing. So the difference between a low sugar life and I absolutely forbid this stuff to cross my lips and I won't eat ketchup because it has 2 grams of sugar in it sort of mentality tends to be there's no real health benefit from going from a low sugar diet to a no sugar diet, and there's a whole lot of neuroticism and stress involved for a lot of people. So so I encourage people, it's definitely helpful in a lot of ways to reduce your sugar intake and be aware of the foods that have a lot of sugar added to them. Not all sugars are the same. There's some foods that have naturally occurring sugars, milk being one of them, fruit being another one of them, that are not associated with the same health detriment as added sugar to hyper-processed foods. So like a Snickers bar is worse in the sense of like the added sugar than a banana. So even if you look at them and you say, well, both of these have the same amount of grams of sugar, health recommendations from global organizations recommend that we reduce the added sugars and don't worry so much about the sugar that's in your fruit. And actually, the health outcomes of a high added sugar diet are very different than the outcomes of a diet that has a lot of fruit in it. So we see an increase in cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and a lot of other problems in a high added sugar diet. But a diet that has a lot of fruit in it and not necessarily devoid of milk products, which also have some natural sugar, is actually associated with improved health. So like eating lots of fruit is unequivocally good for us. One of the most effective things you can do to reduce your cancer risk is to eat fruit. So I don't know if I answered all of the questions, but no, I don't think short answer, I don't think we all have to cut out sugar. I don't think it's deadly. There's room to have a cookie or a Snickers bar on occasion. I would just try and keep them to accessories of your meal and not actual meals made of sweet foods.
Got it. So there is a place for them. They shouldn't be the central component of your meals.
Exactly. Yeah. And, different organizations draw the line at different places with how much is healthy. Like, different organizations have said 5% of total calories from sugar, 10% of total calories from sugar. With my personal clients, I will usually say 10% of total calories from all treat foods, meaning fried foods, alcohol, and desserts. It makes the math fairly easy too. If you think the average person needs between maybe 1,500 and 2,500 calories a day, that like how much of that can I have from just pure fun food? Be like somewhere around 200 calories a day. So that gives you something you can wrap your brain around. It's not a dozen donuts, but it's, like it's one. So it gives you an idea of scope. And I think it helps to think about saying yes to some things and no to other things so that we don't end up with too much low quality stuff in our diets.
So I'll oversimplify and summarize by saying you absolutely should have cake on your birthday.
100%, yes. Otherwise, you end up older. And you should all have cake on my birthday, which is March 22nd.
All right, nice. Is that Aries?
It is. I also share a birthday with William Shatner. I'll give you a minute.
I see. Now lots of things are becoming more clear.
Isn't it? Isn't it? All right, what else you got for me, Halen?
Let's talk about nutrition coaching in general.
Awesome.
So in getting people to try their hands at nutrition coaching or using a new coach to help them solve some of their with the weight loss and perhaps body image. So most folks are not reluctant to try another diet even after they've tried many. And even if they haven't had much success with them. But in my experience, people are considerably more reluctant to be open to the idea of working with a nutrition coach. So one, I'm curious to hear why you think that is, and what might you say to someone who's had the experience of like trying a bunch of diets, not feeling like they've had a lot of success. What might you say to open their to try working with a nutrition coach?
Sure. You're right that most people are like totally comfortable trying out a new diet themselves. Partially, it may be an old stat, but it's something like the average person tries 4.5 times a year to lose weight. And almost none of them are actually using a professional to help them. Some of the reasons that I think people are hesitant to work with a nutrition coach would be that they don't want to give up control. Like choosing what we get to eat is one of like the biggest pleasures for most adults. Like I want to eat what I want to eat. I don't want to eat what, I don't know, some person told me I have to eat. So they may have this incorrect impression that working with a coach means that they don't get to make their food decisions anymore. Second, and it's like sort of related, they could have worked with someone in the past and had it be like a horrible experience because the person gave them a meal plan. I worked as a personal trainer before I worked as a dietitian. And the horrible things that went on in the gym that I worked at with like trainers writing meal plans out for clients on scraps of paper and giving it to them. And it was all just permutations of like rice, broccoli, and chicken. And like, nobody's going to actually eat that. But so they could have had a terrible experience with somebody in the past and not realize that they didn't really get the cream of the crop when it comes to somebody helping them. And then I think the reason that working with a coach is beneficial is also the third reason people are hesitant to work with a coach. And that's because involving another human totally changes the dynamic, right? So on the positive side, if I know I'm meeting Halen for my workouts and that I'm going to talk with Halen about my nutrition each week, I'm going to think twice about some of the things that I might do that aren't ideal or maybe aren't in line with my goals. Because I'm thinking, I'm going to have to explain that to Halen. I don't know how much I want to explain that. And so it can actually make us kind of have an added layer of restraint when it comes to doing things that we might just give ourselves a pass for. Be like, I'm just going to forget about this. Nobody knows but me, sort of thing. So it's helpful to have that external accountability, and yet we fear it because most of us are worried that we're just going to disappoint somebody if we have too many pints of beer, or if we fail to do something that we told them we would do, if we have a meal that's, cereal and a fruit roll up because like we had no other groceries on hand. So I encourage people to think about how beneficial that accountability could be to them if they're working with a coach who isn't going to judge them, who isn't going to belittle them or act high and mighty and superior. Because the best coaches that I know don't do that. We're all like, yeah, we've totally, eaten soup out of the can. It's no big deal. And we don't judge people for having difficulty because we know what difficulty is and we've had it ourselves. So, yeah, I think more people should give nutrition coaching with a human being a try. Um, and I think that added accountability from another person can help you gain a stronger sense of accountability for yourself going forward. So you actually become more independent as opposed to reliant on somebody else over time. So,
Yeah. And good nutrition coaching doesn't take control from the individual at all. It
no
just
way.
maybe helps them shape the decisions that they want to make. But right, they should be in full control of the decisions they make. Quality nutrition
Totally.
coach.
Yeah, I feel like, the skills that we give people actually give them more choices. I use the acronym YAHOO when people say I had to. I'll write back YAHOO, which is you always have other options because, like, no, binge eating is not your only option. Getting fast food is not your only option. Um, and we're all guilty of this. I am too. Like we get ourselves into these like ruts of the way we make choices, and the choices we see may be limited. But if you have a coach who's pointing out like there's also option Q, and let me teach you how to do option Y. And so now you don't just have A or B, but you have Q and Y, and you have more things to think about and more freedom, really.
Awesome. Well, it brought up another question that we'll save to this concept of wanting something and also not wanting something at the same time.
I'm writing that down so we can talk about it next time because that's a good topic. All right, next time.
All right, Georgie. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.